On the bench right now, we've got the soundbar, the LP1807. Comes with this user manual. Looks like it's in Chinese, but it's not. A decent user manual, I'll start off by saying that. It's well written, easy to understand, lays everything out. There's a bit to this little stereo system if you're not familiar with stereo systems. If you are, it's a snap. This one's super easy to understand. So here's the instructions for assembly. You have two options basically. I use it in this configuration, so speakers as you see it here on the bench, two separate speakers. We'll get into that in a second. But you also have the option of running it as one soundbar underneath your TV or wherever you're going to have it. We happen to use this on top of our piano for our dinner music in the dining room, and I'll say it several times probably during the course of this review that the sound quality is really quite good. It doesn't have the bass that it could have, but if you can imagine the size of the subwoofers in here, they're going to be quite small. So having said that, there is an option where you can plug in the back a subwoofer. So anyway, user manual, like I said, is quite good. So now we're into German. It's in several languages, still German. Then we go into Japanese, and finally will be likely Chinese. All right, moving on to the meat of the matter. It comes with two pieces. This is as far as I can zoom. Perhaps this would be better done on my kitchen table, but we can show you the basic gist of it here. So this is right speaker out. There's of course two speakers, and so you go from one speaker to the other. There's no need to power the second speaker, as I'll show you in a second. The input comes with the included charging adapter, which is 100 to 240 volts at 50 or 60 hertz. Of course, in North America here, we're on 60 hertz at 0.8 amps. Output is 15 volts, so not your standard 12 volt system. It's 15 at 3000 milliamp hours. So that simply plugs into your power right there, and you're powering up your first speaker right away. Moving on, we've got HDMI capability. We also have optical, and it comes with the optical cord. That's the HDMI cord. I don't use that. And it comes with the optical cord, and I know very little and don't use that as well. However, if you're into that, then you'll know what that's all about, and you'll be pleased to see it, I'm sure. Moving on, we have auxiliary, so you can plug in, and it comes with a cord, a two-sided 2.5 mil male that simply plugs into there, and that'll be another input source. You could plug the other end into your phone or your iPad or whatever, your iPod, whatever you use for music. So that's another option for getting sound into this thing. I simply use the Bluetooth. It has Bluetooth as well, and that's what I like to use on my phone. Then my phone isn't trapped to this. Two lines in, left and right, and those will be for RCA inputs. And then a switch out, so there's also capabilities of having remote switching, and then of course USB as well. So this thing has a plethora of inputs on it. Fairly easy to set up in a simple manner, and that's what I went for initially. Right now I've got these bases on there. They just twist and pop on and off. So that's one base, and then of course if you take the other base off like that, then these two have the capability to marry to each other in the right. There you go. And now you have a deluxe, quite long tube. I'll put the measurement of the tube right here for you in inches and centimeters. So there you go. And then on the back, if you're going to run it in tube configuration, it comes with two little brackets, and they simply slide into the fittings on the back like so. One and two. And then this thing can just sit on a counter like so. I don't have a lot of extra room here, but then it sits on the counter like so. Here's a picture of it sitting on my piano in that configuration. So you can see there that it just sits there nicely. We prefer to split them, however, so we don't use these little brackets, and I don't know if they come out because I've never put them in. They do come out. Take that one out, and we'll take that one out. I suppose you could leave them in there, there's no harm. And then we'll twist it and it falls apart. And now we're ready to put them in the bases. So if you look at the configuration, there's one square hole that goes like that, and then you just give it a bit of a twist. This is our right speaker, there's the right speaker in. And for that they include a long cord. So this cord just goes in like this, and it has a RCA end on it, and that has power as well as audio into it. So there's no need to run a second line. Your right speaker is now hooked up. And then this other end, this is your master speaker, goes into the right out. So we're going to put that in there. And also, we'll add the second bass. So put that in like so and give it a quarter twist. So we're on our way to having this thing completely hooked up already. There's also a short adapter when you have it in tube mode. This short adapter would go from here to there when that's a single tube. So we keep that for safekeeping because we're not using it currently. The only other thing you need now is to plug in the power source. I have a power source sitting right over here, and you'll take the other end of that and plug it right into the power, and voila, it should be powered up. On the other side through here, you can see there's a little red light. Now let's touch quickly on the remote that it comes with. The remote requires that you put in your own two AAA batteries, sorry, two AAA batteries. We had those kicking around, and then the remote is good to go. Power, mute, volume up, volume down, next track, previous track, play and pause. And this manipulates your phone. Once you've got it paired via Bluetooth, it'll also change it on your phone or your iPod or whatever you're using. And then these are for the various inputs in the back, which we saw earlier. We have the auxiliary, the USB, the Bluetooth, optical, which is this, and then HDMI or ARC. So the remote I use quite a bit. It's quite handy. You also have the option of these buttons down here. Let's zoom in on those quickly so you can see. We have mode, play, pause, plus and minus, or previous and next track. So that's long pause or long press for volume, short press for track. So you have four buttons there. I don't use those. I prefer to use the included remote control. Zoom back a bit, and as far as pairing this thing goes, it's incredibly simple. Here's my Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus. I'll just pop into my phone there. Let's clear everything so you can see it right from the beginning. Now I have previously paired this with this stereo, but it was very similar the first time. There's no codes or anything. Basically, before you turn on the stereo, I go into my Bluetooth settings, turn on my Bluetooth. Now I've renamed it piano stereo because that's where we put it. And then I simply use the remote to turn it on. You can see the blue light flashing. And with that noise, you know you're connected, and away we go. Now you're free to go into your Amazon Music, if that's what you desire, wherever you play your music from. Let's go in and just play something quickly, and you'll see it plays as soon as I push the play button. So there you go. So you have the ability, as you can see, to change the volume from there, or you can also use the remote. And that changes the volume on the stereo, not your phone. So you can turn it all the way up on there, and you can see that your phone is still low. So you have the ability to go higher into the red zone with your phone. I find this quite handy. So I put the stereo about midway on the volume, and then I leave the remote on the piano. And then even when my phone is off, I have the ability to turn down the music just by touching the buttons on the side of my phone. So I find that quite handy. It's also, you're able to pause and play from there. So there you go. That's the operation of it via the Bluetooth. That's my preferred method of using this thing. I'll throw it back up on the piano where we had it and show you how it looks sitting up there. I'm really impressed with the quality of the sound from this. There's two things, well, there's several things you're looking for, but two things I was interested in when I bought this. Number one was, how does it look when it's installed or when it's sitting in your living room or wherever you're going to have it? It's pretty snazzy. It's black, it's sleek, it's minimal, right? It doesn't take up a lot of space, and you get a lot of good quality sound for such a small system. The other thing is the quality of the sound, and I can't say it again, I can't say it enough. I love this. The quality of the music out of this is great, especially when you divide the speakers as far apart as they'll go. I'll put the length of the speaker wire right there, and so that tells you how far you can have these speakers from each other, and that's important. I think the further apart they are, kind of the more surrounding the sound can be. There you go. This system gets 2 thumbs up from family of 4. We really like this, and we're glad we bought it. If you're looking for a relatively inexpensive, I think it was around 140, 150 bucks. If you're looking for a relatively inexpensive system that does a good job, this one does well. The LP 1807.